Hi, I'm B. Welcome to my channel. There are approximately 15 million YouTube channels that create content, and you landed on mine. I hope you'll stick around and hear what I have to say on this topic and share your thoughts as well in the comment section. And as always, please be respectful to the people I'm speaking on. Thank you. Oh, welcome to The Truth Never Dies, Episode 1. Continued. I'm on Part 3. And I don't know how long this is how many parts it will end up being, but and keep them going in order. Part 3. So we left off with Jessica in the interview room with the officer on body cam. He asks her what has been going on since he last saw her about 2 months ago. That time frame would be between October 2022 and December 2022 at this point. So she's purchased a house and was still moving items out. Okay. As a survivor of domestic violence and having went through the court system, the officer gives some sound advice, but also he could be given a manipulative individual tools to continue to inflict pain on their victim. If she's a victim and needs resources to stop the abuse, this is awesome information. But if she's playing a hand in this to separate herself from Reese while trying to secure custody of the kids and such to her advantage, then he's given her tools to do so. It's a hard call on how to take what he is saying here. He tells her if she wants Reese locked away, they need manual strangulation. She said previously he had put his hands on her neck. Did he cut off her air? Now, to get a felony, they need her statement in his interview to determine what happened without a video to corroborate her story. Since there's no bruising marks at this far out, and they would be reluctant to charge a felony without some evidence. He's basically telling her without aggravating factors such as bruising and injuries present, use of a weapon, or strangulation, it is a misdemeanor, and she has 1 year to charge him with a misdemeanor. Honestly, to me, she looks defeated at this point in the interview, but then he brings up that you can put into play an order of protection. This will offer things to consider restricting him from, such as her address, him calling or texting her, depending on the circumstances, keeping him from the kids at their school. And if she can convey a need to a judge, possibly they could add restrictions of alcohol and drug use. The officer cannot predict what a judge will do, but it could give her time to get her items out of the house without him being there to interfere. I have an issue with this, and that this is manipulation of the court and a reason for a protective order to ask for the restrictions on the mutual home when she already has purchased a separate home from Reese. Now, if she wants an order of protection from Reese at her new residence, I get it. But this right here is abuse of the legal system to request that Reese cannot be in his own home while she has secured a private residence. If she was still in the hotel and needed to get the girls back into their beds and a routine, she should ask for this, and I would encourage it. But that isn't her situation. Most victims of domestic violence do not have the resources to purchase another home or even to rent a separate residence from their abuser. Her situation is unique, and I see no valid reason to ask for a protection from the residence that they shared. This officer is giving her information that could potentially afford her with a way to abuse the system and Reese in the process. The property of the shared house is unfortunately a civil matter at this point, and she is trying to use the criminal system for help. My current knowledge of this can't be quieted in my mind, where she is coming and going from the shared home during this time and able to collect personal belongings for a window of time, but choosing to film and do other things than secure the belongings. She's spending time with Reese in the home. She's in the home alone while she's filming in her studio area, but yet she's not using that time to get the belongings out of the home. He goes on to explain that emergency order of protection generally lasts about 2 weeks. He knows she has a new home and still explains she could request this to keep him from the house to get her stuff. He says this could end at the time of the hearing, but if he's still offending at the time of the hearing, it could be extended. He suggests that she utilize the counseling service to get assistance in navigation through the system in this situation. This is a good resource. If you are in a domestic violence situation, please use the services offered through the police or the district attorney. They will set you up with an advocate and counseling service. These people do this daily and are well equipped with resources that can help during this time. Please call or visit the ones they suggest to you. They can help fill out paperwork, sit with you in court proceedings. I had this and it was a huge help. She goes on and explains that she hasn't experienced anything with Reese like this prior to this year, and she thought she could fix it. And this is a very common thing to say and feel in this situation. The officer asks her if she has any additional footage from the abuse. A trigger warning appears on the screen, and we have a 2-minute clip where she plays the audio only of an encounter. Jessica's saying, "Stop, you win. Everyone thinks I'm the problem. Please, you win. Our kids are upstairs." Reese says, "Are they? Well, you're backed in a corner now." Jessica asks for him to stop, and Reese is asking where her aggression is from before. He says, "You had your hands on me before. Where is it? You were so aggressive and so angry before. Where is it?" Jessica replies, "It was because you were screaming in my face." Reese continues to ask, "Where is it?" Assumingly referring to the aggression, Jess has stopped. She says, "Stop, please stop, you're drunk." Jessica grunts a little, like twice, and this is confusing. Considering the words being spoken, this could be her pushing against him or Reese at this time, him pushing her. It's kind of hard to tell since there's no audio, no video of this, only audio, to know exactly what is happening. Reese says, "Did you do it? You say it. You say it." Jessica says, "Say what? What did I do?" Reese is whispering here. He starts to whisper and says something, and it's hard to make out, but you hear effing money. Jessica says, Don't, you're drunk." The officer asks what Reese said. Jessica says he said, "You're about to cross a line she doesn't want to cross." Back to the audio, Jessica tells Reese, "Snap the F out of it." Reese tells Jessica, "Stand up and take it. Be the boss bitch you want to be." She tells the officer she doesn't know what he wanted, but maybe her phone. So in this audio, Reese says something about her taking from the account or something like that. You have to wear headphones and squint a little, but it really feels like he feels that maybe she changed an account or took something out of an account, and that is the basis of this interaction. Also, as he mentioned, this recording we're hearing is partial and missing a portion where he feels she was attacking him prior to this. Again, I feel manipulated with the video production that she's showing us today. She's now back in the interview room talking about how she checked out of the hotel and was going to stay for the weekend with Reese at the home. She had bought the new home and was waiting to close on Monday. And she had gotten the shower, and Reese took her laptop and keys. For 24 hours, he tried to make her feel crazy, like she didn't have it, like he didn't have it, that she had her stuff, her belongings. And he would never have had it. But Reese said that they always have been in her possession. It's not his fault that she lost her stuff. So she checked her car, and it was locked. And the next day, she thought about what he had said and it being in her possession, and wondered if he put it back in the Jeep. So she went to the Jeep, and it was on the floorboard of the Jeep on the passenger side, and it was unlocked. And she remembers that it was locked and nothing was there the night before. And she said that Reese was laughing at her when she came in the house with the laptop. And he said, I told you you had it. So like an hour or so later, Reese gave her one of her Jeep keys. It was the spare. He'd came up into their room and handed it to her and said, I just wanted you to hate me so you would leave. And he walks out. And she thought, okay, now I can go and leave. But she didn't want to scare the kids or argue with him about it. She didn't want them to hear she didn't have a car to leave. And if they got into an Uber, then they would ask, why don't we have a car to leave? So she just chilled that night, and she was just basically stuck without a car while he had done this several times before. Okay, what did she just tell us? So is she speaking of the night prior to the getting her spare key back, the night after she got her spare key, she had a car, she didn't have a car? This could go either way on who did what in here, but this is all over the place, and she is not consistent with what day or incident she's referring to. I have no idea where that came. I mean, it was just, what? What did you just say? So she's now saying that Reese has said that they were both toxic, but she says, no, we are moving away from you being 250-pound man backing me into a corner. She smirks a little and says, not to say that women can't beat up men, huh? The police officer goes through scenarios of justified abuse or reaction to abuse with a firearm. There was no firearm mentioned prior to this, as it was kind of just out there. He's just giving examples and speaking at this point. So Jessica's pretty sure that she has a video, that he has videos of her snapping and being mad and making her look crazy. But as she says, this was her saying, how did she said this? I'm from the hood and will always stand up for myself. And then she ends up looking broken and hiding in the bathroom, crying in the corner. But she has moments where she's just like, I'm not going to fucking do this. I'm not going to sit here and fucking cry and beg you not to do this. Fuck that. So I know he has videos of me mad and like throwing things and screaming or crying or whatever, but it's all a response. Even having been in this situation, everything is not a response. It just isn't. You cannot just justify that everything you do is a response. It's not. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, you do things. Even as a human, you may say things or do things, but it's you doing it. That's all there is to it. So she inserts the words on a screen. So it stops, it pauses, there's words. She's sitting there, she looks up at the officer, and she says that, I got so scared for a second. I remembered his body cam is on, and at the time I didn't want my ex to know I was getting a report for documentation of abuse, just in case I need it for family court or an OP. That's an order of protection. It's kind of odd placement here, and we'll get more into that later when I can go into what she's doing here. The officer excuses her actions and says it's like a pressure valve, and sometimes you just gotta let it out. Some may think that this is okay, but he says, hey, sometimes you just gotta let it out. He also says that if Reese was to go into another room and punches the drywall, then that's okay to him. But if it was next to her head, then that's threatening and covered by Illinois domestic violence. I'm going to stop here. I'm only 48 minutes into a 2-hour and 38-minute video. I, like many of you, watch these videos on 2.0 or while I'm doing some other task. And this is one of those times that I feel needs to be watched and take in everything she is not only saying, but also what she's showing us. I'm looking and listening to all of it. None of the surface layer that she's showing us is what's actually happened beneath. So her words and actions with dates and times are noted to dig deeper than that surface level. Normally, I take people at their word, but from experience, this isn't all it appears to be. Thanks for being here, and I hope you come back for part 4.